19th, 1998. We're on the big corner of South First and Avenue B here in Muleshoe at the Harvey Bass Appliance, and I've always thought it should be the Harvey and Marie Bass Appliance. Now, 50 years ago, this very day when you opened the stores, how come it wasn't the Harvey and Marie Bass Appliance?
I don't know.
Oh, this is who we need to ask that question.
We were real lucky to be able to say it was Harvey Bass Appliance.
All right, and we're talking with Harvey and Marie Bass. Harvey, of course, on my right, Marie on my left, and their two daughters, and we just like two grandchildren and one son-in-law.
That's right.
Kid and caboodle. That's pretty.
Born in Florida.
That's pretty good, and it was actually 50 years ago this day.
Right. That's right.
And the location wasn't right here, Harvey. Where was the first location of your store?
It's over there where David Tips is now, right across from where for the tax office. You know where it's at? Yeah, it's
To
right.
the north of
Yeah,
there.
right there across.
And the address was what?
Oh, I forgot 6. 5,
Well, Main and Avenue C.
yeah, that's where it was. Main now.
And Marie, how did it come about that you opened the Harvey Bass Appliance? Were you living here, or what happened specifically to preface the opening of this store?
Well, we were living in Aspermont, Texas, and we were in the newspaper business down there. And Harvey's sister and her husband, Afton and Mary Richards, we were all in together. And we decided that there wasn't enough business in the newspaper business for two families. So Harvey's brother Melvin and his wife Laura lived out here and
In Muleshoe.
in Muleshoe, and they wanted us to come out here and buy out Mr. Rocky, who had the Firestone store, and put in a business, which we did.
Now, you had lived in Muleshoe previous to 1948, hadn't you, Harvey?
Yes, I went to school here in 1935. I played football and had a big time right here in Muleshoe. One time we saw on Main Street over there in the early part of 1935, we saw Will Rogers and them came down the street out there, and Mr. Hossel and Johnny Merle, they were all there, and we watched him twirl that all that rope.
Now, Mr. Hossel was the owner of the Hossel Ranch, wasn't he?
That's right, and Will Rogers went to see him very often.
They were friends.
Very close friends.
Now, Mr. Hossel didn't live in this area, did he?
No, he didn't. He didn't really live here. He had bought the ranch out here.
Toward Earth, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
toward Earth, and he lived. Of course, Johnny Merrill and all that bunch were living out there running the ranch. But whenever Will Rogers and Mr. Hossel got together, it was generally out here at the ranch. And Mr. Hossel was a wonderful fellow.
Now, Marie, 50 years ago, what did you look like?
Oh, don't ask.
Now, on that day,
I didn't have gray hair.
you didn't have gray hair.
No, I didn't have gray hair.
And weren't you expecting a child?
Yes, I was.
How
2 weeks,
and was that early or late that she came?
just right.
She came just right, right on time.
Right on time.
So, boy, that was a big step to move, open a new business, and have a first child.
That's
all
right.
Within just, 2 or 3 weeks?
2 or 3 weeks there, and we just, when they brought us home from the hospital, well, we just brought her in the bassinet, and she and I came to work. We've worked ever since.
Now, did you work the first day, March the 19th, 1948?
I was down there.
You were there.
I was there.
And now, Marie, on that very first day, do you remember, was it a beautiful day? Was it a cold day? A sandstorm? The weather.
Well, I believe we had a sandstorm.
Did you really?
When we were coming up here, that was Sunday, I believe, coming up here while we run into sand, and this is what greeted Marie up here at that time. And where we was going to move we moved our little house from down to Aspermont up here. And when she saw the sand dunes and everything like that, and especially down here close to the hospital where it was, there's a big sand dune right up behind that hospital, and we had to scrape that sand away in order to get a place to put that little 2-room house in the bath.
Now, the house, Harvey, you actually moved it from Espermont?
With all of our furniture in it. It cost us $75.
$75
To move the house.
from Espermont to Mule.
Yeah, they were going on up, so they brought that and dropped it off here. And so we got it all done, and we couldn't have moved the furniture for that, really, you know.
How far is it from Espermont?
It's, how far? It's probably 200 miles, maybe?
Probably 200 miles,
Who were some of your first customers, Marie, at the Harvey Bass Supplies?
Well, possibly Jeff and Jewel Peeler, and W.Q. Casey and Mrs. Casey.
He was at the bank, wasn't he?
That's right.
Muleshoe State.
Muleshoe State Bank.
Now, where was the bank?
Across the street from us.
Where the Bailey County Appraisal District is today.
That's right.
On Main Street.
Yeah, that's right.
And Jeff Peeler, was he just next door?
Yes, I believe that's right. Southwestern Public Service. Right.
And now you carried Firestone, and I think of Firestone being tires, but they had appliances.
Had appliances too, and that
You didn't have tires, did you?
we got a few tires in there, but you would have went broke selling tires because if one blowed out and tried to send it back to them, they wouldn't make it good. So I wouldn't. We decided that wasn't for us.
So did you have only appliances?
No, we had appliances and a few other items as a store like that would have, because we bought out Mrs. Rocky over here, see. We had all those things. We sold quite a few things, but the way we always raised and worked, well, we sold it when we got the appliances in. That's when we went to work and when we went to selling things. So that was.
So about what would you think a Firestone refrigerator 50 years ago cost?
Oh, the refrigerator? 10 foot, about what the generally sold, and that's about as big as you'd ever sell one. And it would probably be not over 200 to 229 or something like that on the prices of that. Of course, they didn't have all this so much automatic defrosting. You had to defrost them and all that.
There were no automatic
No,
defrosters.
none. No freezers either like that. So they built the freezers, and they built the first upright freezers. Firestone did, or the company that built it for them. Then those freezers is what we'd sold so many, and we broke it into this area, and we sold them all over this county. And I don't know how many we sold, but lots of them. We get in 7 or 8 at a time, and we try to sell that many every week.
Now, Carola was telling a few moments ago about how you really made a big sale on those freezers. Carola, just tell us about how he went door to door with freezers.
It was more like farm to farm. He would put them in the back of the pickup, and then he would go out, way out in the country, to the different farms, and he would sell the freezers off the back of the pickup, set them up in their homes, and go to the next farm.
Now, Harvey, how'd you get that idea?
Because I had to. we had to do that in order to make a living, because it's a little bit hard times then, but we had the wheel and the good Lord furnished us the way, so we went with them and we got it, and that's been a long time, but we come through some beautiful days, and I wouldn't swap this town for any town anywhere.
Marie, can you remember, like, the washers? Did they have washers, or did they have washers and dryers, or just washers 50 years ago?
Well, they had washers and dryers.
There were really dryers?
Yes, they were really dryers then. And they also had portable washers, that you had a little washer that you could put your clothes in with a wringer on top, but you turn that wringer by hand to get your clothes through. Yeah. There were a lot of nice things back then. Of course, there's been a lot of improvements.
Can you think of the biggest improvement in appliances that has made it, that's hard, the biggest improvement in appliances for the housewife or the house husband?
The larger refrigerators and larger freezers and the automatic defrost systems have come into it, and that helped them, and they could put up their meat and anything they wanted to, and it's self-defrosted and didn't leave it where you come up and have a bunch of frost all over the whatever you had in there, and it seemingly just hardened up and be like a bone.
Oh yeah, that defrost in a refrigerator, that was a
That
day.
was that was yeah, that was wonderful. First, they had the cyclomatic defrost in Frigidaire that would defrost through each cycle, and then it came to automatic defrosting. And it's just wonderful. And the self-cleaning ovens, of course, and then came the dishwashers.
Yeah.
And that's a wonderful thing for a household.
But you could live without that, but that defroster, you know,
Right.
on that refrigerator,
Right.
don't you think that just,
You
that
s-
has to be it?
Right. You'd spend a half a day defrosting a refrigerator and cleaning it up, getting everything back in it,
Right.
turn it back on. Take half a day.
Now, Harvey, what year did you have the first Frigidaire that you sold?
1953. We were selling Nicky sewing machines, and we sold them back in 1949, and we really got used to that. Had a fella traveling from down the highway, and he'd catch rides, but he was what they call a tramp for a sewing machine.
A tramp for a sewing
Yeah, you know, they had tramps, but they'd go to work a while in the place. And he came and he stayed with us about 2 weeks. And he taught me how to begin to start working on sewing machines because he knew it. And I was glad he came back later again. But anyway, I learned to work on sewing machines. And so when I did that, was, of course, that connected us with the schools and everything else. And we sold them and we held classes for the schools and everything. But this is one of the things that started us rolling, those sewing machines. And of course, the sewing machine business and the refrigerator business, from the standpoint of a Frigidaire, I was up at the front of the store over there, and I was sewing on a sewing machine and demonstrating it. And then they had these old cigar boxes and the lids. We kept the lid off of it, and we could sew through that lid with a sewing machine. So I was showing a fellow that one time and his wife, and they bought that sewing machine, but this fellow's walking around the corner out there and coming up and down kept coming around the corner. And when I got through and I sewed it, he come in and told me, he says, I'm Mr. Stevenson from Frigidaire Company. Well, I said, how are you doing, sir? And he said, fine. Says, I wanted to know if you wanted a cup of coffee. And so we went down to the drugstore. And when we got to the drugstore, he said, we want you to take Frigidaire. I said, I'm not even able to come close to taking Frigidaire. He said, yes, you are, too. Said, these people, Mr. Casey, and said, Mr. Will Harper, who had Frigidaire, wanted to give it up to you. And said, Mr. Peeler down here wants you to have it. Said, yeah, there's no way you can bow out of this thing if you want to gain and do something. So this is what I did. We took it on, and we sold those Frigidaires. And in 1954, we went down to Will Rogers' deal down there in Fort Worth, and when we went out there, they had 25 what they call Frigidarians there. And so anyway, we were sitting way back out there, and Jeff and his wife, Jeff Peeler and his wife went with us. And while we were in there, they announced that Harvey Bass from Shoe, their company, had made the 200% mark in selling of refrigeration, the only one out of the 2,500. And I've got a letter on that back there, but that's where we did.
What year was that, Harvey?
54.
In 54. That was a big day for the Irish.
Oh, it really was.
Even the Germans or the Indians or the Native Americans, I guess they want to be called.
Yeah, that's right.
Anybody.
But we all worked hard at it. We'd go out to people's homes like we call Sudan, and we'd go down there, and Marie was real good with his ranges, and you'd have one of the home economic people from demonstrations, and then the West Texas Utilities are and Southwestern Public Service. They go down there and they hold these demonstrations in the home. Yeah. We saw one night down there about 3 or 4 ranges down there in Sudan, just having it in the home there. See, so that's why you did that. You go out and work anyway.
Sort of like having a party.
That's what it was. And they enjoyed it.
Like Stanley used to have. Well, you know, it's really neat that you've got your whole almost your whole family here. Let's see, Bill. Carola Johnson. Carola, you live where? And tell us what you do and everything.
I live in Yorba Linda, California. My husband works for Boeing in Anaheim, California.
And his name is what?
Ron Johnson. And we live in Yorba Linda, which is close. We just have been there about a year and a half. We moved from Florida. And our daughter, Julie, is 23. She lives with us. She teaches second grade in Corona, California, elementary school. Our son, Eric, is 20, and he is a sophomore at the University of Florida in Gainesville, Florida.
And that's where you had moved from in Florida, wasn't it?
Well, no, we moved from Longwood, Florida, closer to Orlando.
Well, I meant the state.
Yes, and I'm a homemaker, a professional volunteer, one of
I
those.
wonder where she got that from.
She got most of that home economics from Texas.
No, I'm talking about that volunteerism.
Oh, well, I remember that. Did that. Yeah, everybody did.
No, not everybody did. Some people
Yeah.
did.
We always had to, in order to your daddy and all of us got together.
Now, Carola, you went to work evidently the day that you came home, according to Marie. Where were you born?
In Amherst.
In Amherst. That was the hospital over there. Dr. Birdsong and Dr. Slemons and Dr. Mack. Who delivered you?
Dr. Mack?
Oh, I'm asking the wrong person, aren't I? Yeah.
We have a picture. He also delivered Vina, and we have a picture that we had made with him before he died. Yes.
How nice. Now, so what is your earliest memory of being in the store?
Of being read to out of a nursery rhyme book, a Mother Goose book, just before it was time to take a nap.
Where did you take the nap?
Wherever the pallet could be put that was quiet and dark. It didn't make a lot of difference. And I have a lot of memories because they had Firestone to start with and a lot of other products other than appliances. There was a lot of paper in this store. There were butter wrappers and just all different kinds of paper. And I remember playing with paper. We were allowed to have lots of paper and pencils, and we could take boxes from appliances and make playhouses out of them. And we played in refrigerator cartons and range cartons, and we built all kinds of things with the crating materials, and we had a wonderful time.
And you always did this throughout your life, even in elementary school and growing up?
Yes, we grew
To the store?
Yes, we grew up at the store. We really did. I mean, we, of course, were home as we got older and could stay maybe by ourselves. But generally, we were at the store, and we dusted, or we thought we worked. I'm not sure how much production we actually did, but we'd sweep, or we would dust, or we would, Windex or whatever, and we would wait on customers. We were taught from the beginning to say, welcome, and what can we do to help you? That's what we did. We were taught early to answer the phone properly.
Now, Marie, when did you have your second daughter?
Well, she came in November of 1950,
So just 2 years later?
2 years later.
Well, 2.5.
Uh-huh. And then when she was about 6 weeks old, well, the three of us went to the store with what we needed for the day's run and go down and help Daddy. And one of our neighbors told another neighbor, said, well, Marie doesn't do a thing in the world of morning but get up and dress herself and fix herself up and fix up those two babies and go to town.
Stayed all day, every day.
All day in town.
Well, really and truly, those were the days 50 years ago that all ladies stayed at home. There were very few ladies that went out to work. So this was a little bit different, a whole bunch different, really. And then to take your children, to work, that was the beauty of it.
No,
wasn't it?
well, yes, we couldn't have done it had it not been for we could take the children with us, because I could not have gone off and left them
No.
6 days a week.
You never had a babysitter, I bet.
Well, just if the girls were ill, if one of them got sick, or if it was just really bad and they couldn't get out, well, we'd get someone to come and stay with them. But usually they went went with us. That's what we planned on.
Now, the house that you first lived in was located where? We didn't locate that house.
No, that house has been torn down. It was up behind the hospital, there next door to the little house that's behind Dr. McClanahan's house, office.
So it would have been on West 2nd.
Well, that's right. That's right. 2 rooms. We moved up here, as Harvey said, with our furniture and everything in the house, and then we built 2 rooms onto that, which gave us 4 rooms and a bath. We just had a big house.
And how long did you live there at that house?
We lived there until, Harvey, what year did
What year did you move, Harvey?
We moved in the 56 or 57, something like that.
So the girls were still at home
Yeah.
when you moved.
Yeah, they were.
And now, Vina, what's your, well, we didn't tell who you are, and you tell your story, and then answer the question, your earliest memory.
Thank you, Megan. I'm Vina, the second daughter. My last name now is Strayhorn and has been for almost 25 years. My husband, Thomas, is a school teacher in Snyder, teaches science, biology. I'm a pharmacist, working only part-time now. We have a daughter, Ellen, who is 20, and she is a third year at Tech, environmental engineering. Carol, our 18-year-old, is a senior at Snyder High School, and we have David, who is 7, in first grade in Snyder. And my earliest memory, I remember the wonderful nursery rhymes and the bed, getting to take a nap or having to take a nap, probably having to in my book back then. And I remember the paper, the brochures, the slick, shiny brochures, and getting to stamp Harvey Bass Appliance on those brochures and trying to do it as well as Daddy or Mother would demonstrate to us without smearing it. And that was an effort for us, and learning to count change back, riding our tricycles all over the store, wrapping packages. So many, many memories flood.
So did you wrap like at Christmas time? Did the store wrap?
Oh, yes, ma'am. It was very exciting. Primarily white paper, but Mother, being very creative, taught us to make flowers and bows and wrapping washers and dryers and ranges was and refrigerators, and at one time they had toys, was very exciting, and dressing those packages.
You know, seldom do stores today wrap even a small package, and I bet you didn't even charge for that service.
Oh, no, they didn't. It was a service. And they were so glad to get to do it, too.
I never thought of wrapping a refrigerator. You really wrap refrigerators?
Well, yeah, most of the time he tries to tell them one you had in a crate. If you could do that way, you could put some paper in front of it, but maybe at the back of it, where you had to truck it with dollies, you did put it in paper. So you used it like that.
Bow on the handle.
And sometimes they were satisfied with a bow on the handle, or they wanted it right then, and there was no box or whatever. So that was. But I remember that. That was a lot of fun, and the sewing schools that Mother and Daddy did through the years, and the lovely ladies who came and sitting in the back row, and probably helping with refreshments sometimes, and trying to learn all of that. And it went into Carola's mind, but I don't think it stuck with me.
You don't sew?
Oh, I do sew.
Sure you do. And I bet you all really learned from those sewing schools, didn't you?
We did. We did. Good teachers.
Now, Marie, did you actually teach?
Yes,
You
yes.
taught.
Harvey and I both did. We taught the sewing machine, how to use the machine. Of course, the Necky sewing machines came along. The first ones just had the zigzag, straight stitch, backward and forward, and the zigzag. And we learned to make all kinds of designs, just manipulating the controls.
Yeah.
But then later came the automatic machines, and they did all sorts of beautiful things. And we studied and we worked.
Lisa and Harvey still does a good job. You know, for Peyton's English project, he did Peyton on the front of it. You know, you're still good. Harvey, you want to tell them how young you are?
Let's see, where's my birthday? sometime before long. No,
Are you going to be?
I'll be 80 years old the 11th day of October. That's in this year too.
This year too, right? And Maurice, we won't tell her age, but we want them to know that you're younger.
Yes, I'm younger than Harvey.
Now, when you were telling about, let's see, when you got to be 75, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah, go ahead.
yes, I used to think how wonderful it would be if Harvey and I could keep the store and I could live to be 75, excuse me, and still be able to get up and go to work. Well, the Lord gave me that. He gave me 76, and then
Now, Marie, you're going to tell. I didn't do it.
I did, because I'm so thankful. I'm 77.
Goodness. So you know how old that makes me? Oh, gosh.
Young. You're young.
Well, thank you so much. The little boy at school the other day, I said, now I've been interviewing you. You interview me. And he said, well, how old are you? And I said, well, how old do you think I am? And he said, 40. And I said, well, is that old? And he said, yes. David, do you think that's old?
Well,
Is 40 old?
no.
Good. Very good. And how old are you, David?
7.
7. Boy, that's smart for 7. Everybody around here is pretty smart, aren't they, Harvey?
Well, they didn't get it from me.
Oh. Yeah, that's right. That's so true. And Marie, can you sort of say the best day, or at least one of the best days at work you've had?
At work? Well, I guess today has been the best day. Yeah. This is our 50th year, and it has been a wonderful day.
We may have to turn the camera off. The interviewer is getting weepy. Now we're going to talk to the granddaughters down here. And they, neither one have lived here during their life, but of course they visit here a lot, and especially when they were younger, came for long period of times.
Right. A few days.
So now, okay, what year did you move to this building?
It's 64.
In 64. So the girls have always known this building only. Okay. Ellen at Tech, right? And Ellen, tell us about your early memories as a grandchild, because that's different than being a child and a grandchild. I want to know what you got to do that maybe your mother didn't get to do at the store.
Well,
You can just hold it.
okay. Probably the fondest memory I'll have is riding the. Sorry.
Yeah.
Do you get to do it?
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe David can tell it.
We remember when we were little girls, Papa took Ellen out in the country and they put together a tractor, a John Deere tractor, and you pedal it around the store. And I can remember when I wasn't quite long-legged enough to pedal it around, Ellen would help me out. And I would sit on the front of it, and she'd pedal me around, and we'd go around together. I don't know how many thousands of miles we've ridden on that, and now David does it. And Julie and Eric did it too when they were little. And yes, we played post office. We had with the little brochures. We played office in Gringren's office, and we just have lots of really, really good memories. And it's always fun to come to the store and get to play and have a good time, and lots of good memories.
Now, you're a senior at Snyder High School, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So are you going to go to Tech?
Yes, ma'am. That's my plan.
So what are you going to major in?
Some kind of business. I'm not exactly sure yet, but I'll go in undecided and hopefully decide in a couple of years.
Well, Harvey, who's going to take over the store? When
Yeah.
at 125 you retire.
125. Well, I'm going to be looking for the next year. Well, we don't know, but we've been wonderfully blessed here, Megan. I'd like to go back into some days when your daddy came here, and I don't exactly remember what year it was.
54. It was 44 years ago.
Yeah.
This month.
Okay, and he came into the we were over on Main Street then, and he came into the store and he asked Jack Henderson. I was on the floor working on something, and he came in and said something about
Jack Henderson was how old?
he just was going to high school, and so he was helping me, and we were down there working on something down on the floor, and so. This man came to the door of the building and said, Boy, says, howdy, and we said hello. And he says, how would you like to have a radio station here? And I said, it'd probably be all right, right sharp. And he said, would y'all be interested in sponsoring? And I said, I don't know if we'd want to do anything like that. And he said, well, I wish you'd just come on and help me out a little. So Jack and I both got up on their feet, and we said, what do you have planned? And he said, well, he wanted to have a little radio station and have just a little bit from over at Clovis, that their radio station, and they could have it over here. Remote, and have a program every day. And so we talked about it a little bit, and we began to become more and more interested in that, and so we decided to do it. So we had Jack. He could play fiddle, play a guitar, and sang some, and so we sponsored this program, and we started it out, and he had that.
But now Harvey wasn't the very first mule train there in your store 44 years ago, March of 1954, and it wasn't even planned, and it wasn't called the mule train, and it was because of this Necky Sewing Club. Isn't
Right,
that right,
that's right.
No, and so he called and reported.
Right, he called on our telephone to Clovis and did the broadcast by remote.
Because he saw this as just, there were a lot of women there. There were a lot of names, and those were the important things for the news. And so that's why he picked up on that. And he said that this Necky Club was sort of like a social gathering. You were selling sewing machines, but these ladies came in but to see their neighbors, because they didn't have sororities and civic organizations and maybe even not even home demonstration club. I don't know.
Right, but they'd come and they'd visit and exchange ideas about what they'd been doing on their sewing machines.
So he just reported this, so that's why it just happenstance that.
That's right.
That was the forerunner of the mule train.
Yeah, the ladies organized themselves into what they call the Necky Club.
Really?
They had the president and they had the secretary and treasurer and everything, and they paid in some dues to take to one another, and we didn't get anything other than have a place for them. Mm-hmm. But we taught.
And that was down at Main and Avenue C.
Right there on the corner there. And we have pictures of that right back there.
You sure do. Thomas, you want to run and get one of those pictures off the wall, of the Necky Club? It's hanging on the wall. Oh,
there's one sitting back there.
Okay. And
You know what they gave Harvey for Christmas that year?
now the club.
They gave him a pair of red socks.
Me the red socks.
Christmas red socks.
Yeah, that's what they did. They had more fun, Granny, we had, oh my goodness, those ladies came in here to learn, and we have something new all the time for them,
Now, David, I want you to get right here in the center. Can you come over here and hold that? And you sit down. And then that way you can hold it real still and let your sisters on the side, and y'all be real still with it, and it'll take Peyton a while to get that. Now, that's 53 that this picture was made. Now, Peyton, you're not Peyton, are you, Marie? Marie, who were some of the ladies that you remember in the Necky Club?
Well, Fern Warren.
And she's still here at the first.
Barbara Blackman.
And she's still here.
And Argelie Millen.
And she's still here.
Right.
Boy, that's great.
And Mrs. R.O. Gregory, of course, she's gone now. And Mrs. Audie Black was there. Laura Bass was there. Well, I knew to have to see the picture.
Yeah, sure, I understand. Now, everybody's blood kin except you and me, Thomas. So what's it like being married in by remote control into this clan, and where, when you came to see them, they were always working almost, except on Sunday?
That's correct. I never felt like I wasn't a part from the very beginning. They did a wonderful job of including me as an integral part of the family. I was accustomed to the business life. My parents put in a motel in Snyder in the same year that they put in this store, and the same year I was born. So, all 50 years ago. And so I was accustomed to being around businesses and that way of life. And I've always enjoyed coming to the store and seeing what was new and buying things.
Now, there's something in this store that I don't think that anybody in Muleshoe or West Texas had. Well, there's a couple of things that today is really important. A television. Yeah, television. In 48, you didn't sell televisions in West Texas.
No, we didn't.
And what was the first year you got a television to sell, Harvey?
I believe it's 52. They just had one, and we was over on the middle of we came to the middle of the block. Was that 52, Marie?
We came to the middle of the block in.
Now, you moved 3 times? Oh, I didn't know
Yes,
that.
we were on.
David, if you want to give that to your dad, he can lay it down. I bet that's heavy. Thank you. You were a big helper.
Yes, we were on the corner there, and let's see, we got Frigidaire, but while we were still on the corner, we moved down to the middle of the block where Something Special is now, and that was about 57, I guess. We moved down there. Then we built this building in 64, moved over here.
So what year do you think you got the first TV to sell?
Well, that would have been not before 55, I think.
Yeah. Now, I remember something, don't I, about everybody coming down, or at least some of us got an invitation to come down and watch a program down there, and that was really something. When we moved here in 54, nobody had TV. Now, I think Channel 11, was on the air, I believe, yeah. But what was it?
The World Series.
No, it wasn't.
I mean, Rose, we had the.
Oh, everybody. Okay, what was first? Pardon me, Harvey.
First thing I remember us having open house for on January the 1st was the parade.
Yeah, the Rose Parade.
Rose Parade.
And it was in black and white.
Right, but we darkened those windows, and everybody was welcome.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And now, what year do you think that was? Girls, can you all remember? Vina, do you remember?
No, I don't remember the very first one. We were very young.
Little.
Very
What
Now,
year? Ray? We
well,
did it
Maggie,
together.
you were about 8 or 9 years old, or 10. How were you?
Well, when I moved here, I was 11.
11. Well, you would have been about 12 or 13 then when I remember you all coming to the.
So probably, we didn't live here January 1st, 54, so maybe 56, maybe.
Somewhere in there. We did it for.
I believe I was 8 when we got our first television at home that was a large metal box that was a very dark green color.
But the screen was a dark green.
And no, the box.
The box. Was the screen dark green? Black stand.
It had a black metal stand.
I remember there used to be people who would come in every Saturday night to watch the fights, black and white. And then later when color televisions came in, they used to come in on Saturday nights to watch Saturday Night at the Movies in color and Gunsmoke. Yes.
Now, what year did the color, do you think?
58, 60. I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Very late 50s or early 60s. Yeah. I don't know. I would say probably the early 60s. What do you think?
Probably.
I don't.
I just really don't know.
It was.
I would imagine around 59 to 60 then.
Yeah, somewhere.
That was about right.
And what brand did you carry of television?
I can't remember what.
RCA.
Yeah, we had Sylvania, and we had, there was another brand that was off. Hoffman, yeah.
That was our first TV. Was a Hoffman.
Yeah, we had Hoffman, then we had RCA and Quasar, and now we have Crossley. Mm-hmm.
Of course, another thing, the microwave oven.
Yeah, we used to. First microwave oven that I sold was to Condon Williams' son, and
Carter
Williams, and
Legene.
And it was a Manna, and it looked a lot like this one up here, but it didn't have any glass or anything. It only just had holes and he wouldn't buy that because he thought them things was going to get out through them holes and kill him, you know. And so I told him, well, the microwave would not go through a hole any longer than it had to be at least 3 3/4 long. That's what it was, 3 3/4 inches long. And I said, you don't have to worry about that because you can't get through them little holes. I thought it's safe. It's safe. So we started selling those. And when we did that, well, it began to start, and we sold 6 or 8 a week right there on microwaves.
Now, David, come up here and stand by me. Everybody's got to really express their memories. You tell me, you can sit down right there. What are your early memories here in the store? Look up there so they can see how handsome you are.
Well, my early memory would be getting to learn how to ride the tractor.
Uh-huh. And is that tractor still here?
Yes.
Have you ridden it today?
Yes, ma'am.
Uh-huh. Thank you for saying yes, ma'am. I appreciate that. So is it fun coming to the Harvey Bass Appliance?
Yes.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That's great. Now, have you, what grade are you in school?
First grade.
The first grade. And so when you grow up like Daddy and Mother and your grandparents and your Aunt Carola, what are you going to be? And your sisters.
Well, that I need some thinking on.
Oh, you do? Uh-huh. So you haven't decided yet. Are you going to go to Texas Tech?
That I hope.
You hope. Okay. Vina, did you go to Tech?
College education.
Yes, I did. I went to Texas Tech for 2 years and would have continued there, but there was the pharmacy school wasn't funded then.
No.
But the most important thing of my life happened at Texas Tech. I met Thomas. So
Now, where did you go to pharmacy school?
I went. Okay, under the cord.
Sorry.
I went to the University of Houston in Houston, Texas, to pharmacy school. Left here in August of 1971 and graduated there in August of 1973.
Now, Carola, what year did you graduate from high school?
1966.
66, and you in what?
69.
69. So you went straight to Tech after?
Yes. Yes, I went to Texas Tech and got my Bachelor of Science in Home Economics. I met my husband at church in Lubbock. He was going to Texas Tech also.
And now, where is he from?
He's originally from Dallas. Mm-hmm. Right, but he got his degree in physics from Texas Tech and then worked. We lived in Dallas for a while. We lived in Florida for 23 years, and now we're in California. And
Now, this is complete. We got the tractor. Now, whoa, just stay still so Peyton can get it there. He's so close. What year did you buy this tractor?
Daddy.
It was 1980.
Now, who was the first? Julie was she little then? No, Caroline.
Julie was born in 1974. Right, so she didn't. They rode the tractor, but later. You know, it was later. They always loved coming to all the children have loved coming to the store. They've really never known anything different, and we've always enjoyed it, and so they did. We've had a good attitude. We've loved meeting the people. That's probably been the very best part, because when these people come through the door, they're our friends. whether we know them or not. When we go to the grocery store here, I've been gone for 27 years, and I still have to hug everybody as I go down the line. There's still so many people. So that's the best part.
Well, now, Robert has a different story about that. He would come with Daddy, and he said it was, come for 3 hours, where other places it took 30 minutes. And he said, I got so tired of looking at all those refrigerators and opening all the doors. And yeah,
If only he had had that tractor then.
So he would always say, well, where is it that you're going? Well, if it was the Harvey Bass Appliance, he believed that he might not go today.
Wouldn't go today.
He knew it would be a long time. Well, this has been a lot of fun. 50 years of fun, Harvey.
It sure has. Working with your daddy, too, and on these different projects that we have. For instance, the mule we have out here, we worked together, and I finally called and got the speaker out there.
And he was who?
That was, I can't call it.
No.
No, it was, I'll think of it. But anyway, he was real well known, good speaker. And
Wagner Carr,
that's who it was. And we got we were working together and getting the jail out here when they put
law enforcement
center. We got that and got the Ben Barnes. Yeah, that's right, Ben Barnes, and he was the one that dedicated that, and we had he came and spoke lots of times at different things. And
what was the first project you worked on, Harvey, for the betterment of Muleshoe? Do you remember?
Yes, I remember very much. Pesky Wynn and I, we decided we didn't like to go to the ball games when they couldn't see. So we went down here to the old park, and we decided we'd work on the deal and put up poles out there and put some lights out there at night. So we got out and made up some money.
For the football field.
Or the football field or anything else that's going to have it.
What years would that be?
Oh, man, I remember that we used to, Rotary Club met over there,
on Main Street.
Main Street, and we got over there, and that's where we decided to do that.
But it was the Lions Club.
Lions Club there. And so we did that. We got that project going.
Was that in the 40s?
Yes, it was. Later.
So you started working right for the betterment of your community immediately.
Yes, and I like to see people when they come into a town to work for the town. I like the way your boys are doing now. They're working, and they're working for the town and betterment of the town. And that's what they'll go down in life and remember in days to come, that they can react those memories and say, look, we have had something to do with that town being what it is. And, that's wonderful. And these, like you are here, you have come up through all these years working for the betterment of Muleshoe, and look at the town we have now. We have a nice town. And, of course, it comes and goes, but I don't think they're going to wash us out on it.
No, I don't think it's going to wash away. It may blow away.
It might.
No, they can't blow us off the map. Harvey, you also were one of the very first members of the Muleshoe Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, was. We met together over there in the Southwestern Public Service Office, and Jeff Peeler and I first started out checking on that, and then we got the hold of Harold King, and we got a hold of Bill Moore, and
the late Bill Moore.
The late Bill.
Margie Moore's daddy.
Yeah, and we got a hold of I believe Harold King and
Mr. Casey.
Yeah, W.Q. Casey, and we met over there night after night, and we organized and got the deal for the Chamber of Commerce. The first one was held at the old Legion Hall out there, and we didn't think we was going to have very many.
A banquet.
Yeah, have a banquet out there, but we had to open up a side room out there when we found out how many people wanted to go. And so from there on, it really worked out. We had good speakers there that told you how good it was to work in a Chamber of Commerce and how good it was to build your town and have something to go back and look at.
And, the hospital, if you hadn't worked on that, we wouldn't have a hospital.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I was a chairman to get the hospital districts together, and I worked with them on the hospital up here and I remember one time with George Mahon, we was working to try to save our hospital, and so I called George Mahon and told him what the deal was.
And he was our
He
congressman.
was our congressman. I called him up and I told him we needed some money down here. And I said, yeah. He said, how much? And I said, we need $1 million. And he said, well, I'll work on it. So when I went over here to a banquet, Chamber of Commerce banquet at Morton. Well, we was sitting out there and we didn't know. Marie and I were sitting there with her niece. Her niece was a woman of the year down there, and so that's when we was down there. But Mr. Mahon, I didn't know he was going to be there, and I don't guess he knew I was going to be there. But he would come up on the stage, and before the program started, we were sitting out on a table out there in the front, and he saw me, and he got up from up there before the program started and come down there, and he said, I want to talk to you before this is over, before you leave. And I said, okay, Mr. Mahon. And so afterwards, went down the hall over there. He said they want about $1 million for that hospital up there. I said, do you think that's needful, Harvey? I said, yes, sir, we're going to have it. We're going to lose our hospital. He wrote down there, says, Harvey said, get $1 million. Wrote in his hand, in a pen. He said, Harvey said, get $1 million for the hospital. And we got it. So that's what happened. And other times I know that we got it for farmers. The farmers, 28 farmers came in the store one time, and they were trying to get a bill passed for the farm program. So they came in, and so I called Mr. Mahon's office in Washington and told him what the bill number that they're working on, and told him that they were interested in trying to get that passed to save their farms. And he said, you got them there? And I said, yes, sir. And I had about 2 phones or 3, and they'd get on that phone, and they worked on that for about 30 minutes with him, and he talked to me at the last and said, Harvey, tell them that I'll get that pass for him. So we got that done. So many things that I worked with him on, that we got those things, but Gil come into all of these things, and he promoted them, and he didn't pull back on them. And you take a town when you got people going forward, you're not going to hurt that town. You may hurt it in one sense, but you're just going to go on through. So Gil and I and Jeff and Harold and W.Q. Casey and all, Bill Moore, all of us, we worked on all the different things.
And there were others, from time to time. Right. Marie, there were a lot of days he didn't work very much. You held down the fort, didn't you?
That's right.
Because he was out drumming up business for Muleshoe.
That's right, but if he didn't drum up business for Muleshoe, we wouldn't have any business anyway, so I just tried to do the best I could, help him all I could.
Well, now, when you get married, it says, anybody want to say anything, or forever hold your peace. So now we're not getting married, but we're going into the second 50 years at the Harvey Best. So does anybody want to say anything before we close this out? This is your opportunity.
We're thankful to the Lord for all He's given.
And we're thankful to the Lord for giving us such a nice store.
Well, what can we say? He said we're thankful to the Lord for giving us such a nice store. And I'm going to say, and what could I add but amen?
Well, thank you. We appreciate you too, Megan. I want you to know that. You're kind of one of our own.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, you sure are. We're watching all the way.
We've been here at the Harvey Bass Appliance today because it is March the 19th, 1998. Dear is it all. And it's their 50th anniversary in business in Muleshoe. 50 years ago, this day, they opened their doors for the very first time at Main and Avenue C. And today, their family's gathered with them here at the big corner of South First and Avenue B in Muleshoe.
And Maggie, we want to thank you, and we want to thank all of the wonderful people in Bailey County and surrounding area that have supported us through this 50 years. Thank you.